I want to thank Tom and them for inviting us up to talk about the jail. I've got to the point, I do not pass the opportunity up to talk about what's going on with our state and what's going on with our jail down here. As Tom says, I've had 31 years in this business, and at 15 of it, 14.6 as the county jailer. And in that time, there's been a lot, and I mean a lot, has changed over the years with what we do with the criminal justice system. But anyway, so we'll go to the first slide here. The facility, Marion County Detention Center, was actually, it's 1997. It was built 20 years ago. So its 20-year birthday is actually just past, Mark, wasn't it? July? June, July. 31,000 square feet. Its current population, it's got 207, what do we got? 297, I'm on this end over here. 297 beds, 208 program beds, and we got 89 general population. So first off, everybody said, look at jail and said, it's 300 beds, you got a lot of room stuff. But we're under contract. All of those contract beds, 208 beds, we cannot overcrowd. I mean, you can't put people on the floor. So if there's a bunk, it's got to have somebody assigned to that program to be in that bed. So that reduces what our overall capacity for the code check writers, the county arrestees, whatever they may be. And right now we're housing Marion County, Washington County, federal inmates out of Louisville. We got a contract with U.S. U.S. military. Only 2 jails in the state of Kentucky housed for military, and that is Marion County and Christian County. And I was honored at that because actually the military passed up 2 or 3 jails to drive from Fort Knox over to Marion County to house their prisoners in our county at the detention center. So that's a testament in itself. Majority of our inmates are made up by sentenced state prisoners. Current population, that's like today, 324 in that 297 bed place. 127 of those are in those 89 beds. So we end up having 30 in the floor. Now, when I say in the floor, they're sleeping on these little plastic stack of bunks kind of a thing that you put them on, and they're supposed to raise them up off the floor about 6 inches, but the inmates will flip them upside down, and they'll put their mat inside of it, and they call it the boat. They ride the boat. But anyways, that's their choice. At least I provided them an opportunity not to actually sleep physically on the floor. That's one thing I just don't feel good. I want to, it's got to be a little bit humane when you're doing this stuff. Right now, the cost of the jail, 2011, 2012, $3.6 million. In 2015, 2016, it was $4.2 million. We have increased the cost of operating our jail 16%. I want you to remember that number. 16% is what the cost has increased since 2011. Next slide. Now, this is since 2012, what the Marion County count. This is only Marion County arrestees. If you had a portfolio or if your banking account went like that, we'd all be in good shape. But that's what the steady growth, that's what the factual numbers are showing us, what's happening in Marion County. And again, the growth has went up 53% of what we're housing Marion County. When I say that, I say it significantly because Marion County inmates, there is no possible way to generate revenue. That is absolutely, the cost is contributed back to the county, back to the physical court to manage that increase on that population. So we increased, our overall operational only increased 16%. While at the same time it is when these numbers increase 53%, they take up beds which force us to eliminate revenue beds. And you think that really sounds, but that is just, again, we tightened our belt as tight as we can get right now to try to keep it afloat with as least cost to the county, even though we're over $500,000 a year now, aren't we, Judge? Next slide. One thing happens at the jail constantly, and that's on the trend, and this is 2017. This is your detox. Every single day, we have somebody on detox protocols, somebody in the jail going through detox. Years ago, when I say at 31 years in the business and 15 years as the county jailer, you could bring someone in 15 years ago, 6 to 8 hours, you can make sense out of it. They'd be sober enough, you could talk to them and find out some kind of reality and find out who that person, what's going on in their life. It may take 8 days to even get someone function enough where you could to process them correctly. I mean, it is astounding what the drugs are doing. But so there's most of the days we have somebody on their detox every single day. Sometimes it's 5 or 6 at a time. And detox is probably the most liable thing that we've got going. I mean, the liability. Now, when we talk about the increase on population and Marion County's count increasing, and then population as far as reducing our revenue by not pushing out our beds that we sell, Marion County, and our largest part of our population, we sell to the state. Our per diem for a state prisoner, $31.34 a day is what we're paid for a state prisoner. Now, for our substance abuse beds and for our reach beds, we get an increase on the per diem. So the reach beds, we get $39.34. And for the substance abuse beds, we get $40.34 per inmate. It's been 12 years since county jails have seen any increase in a per diem from the state. 12 years. Haven't seen any increase. The Kentucky Center for Alcohol and Drug Research come out with stats this week. The average cost, what it costs to run these facilities, is $61.09 treatment. We're way behind when it comes to actually balancing the checkbook. But again, there's a lot to be thankful for with Marion County. But you look at the drug-related charges from 2014, 2 years, guys, 2014 to 2015-16, we have increased the number of arrestees in Marion County by 51%. So you think about it. Drug charges have, that's exactly, I mean, it's easy to do the stats on that and show exactly what's happening. The drug charges are actually what has elevated the charges and the Marion County count. 51% drug charge increase, 53% on Marion County overall count. And we're still able to deliver within in the last 5 years, deliver only a 16% increase in operations. We are the largest programmatic jail in the state of Kentucky. We lead Kentucky in doing treatment and rehabilitation. Marion County does. And a lot of that we've got the attention, not only on a Kentucky level, but on a national level. I mean, I spend time, I travel 2-3 times a year on a national level to speak at conferences and stuff. So it's kind of, it's humbling, and it's also at the same time it is very proud of where Marion County is by actually trying to answer to what we're facing. Let me see here. Go to the next one, April. So in programs, we offer educational services, GED. We offer mental health services, counseling. We have medical services. We have family services, support groups, legal services, hardships, substance abuse treatment. That right there is the 128 beds there. And then we have the REACH program, which is a very new program. We are the only one in the state of Kentucky doing a REACH program. And I have to say very proudly that Brandon Wilson, he's head of our program administrator for the jail. This is it, him and Neil Coelho birthed this right here. They put this together. And the state is piloting it. We're the only one getting the per diem. I mean, we're the only program in Kentucky on that one. And the REACH program is we're trying to reconnect the offender and the family and reconnect the offender back to the community. So this is a program that comes after we spend time with treatment and addiction issues. Now we got to try to do something by trying to connect them back to their family and back to the community. And mind you, someone spends 36 months in jail, incarcerated in jail, in prison, they're pretty much they're a hardship to the family. The family's been money to commissary, helping them out over the years, writing letters. It's a struggle for them. So we're trying to rekindle some of those relationships, because if an offender is going to be successful, he must have support. And we got to reconnect that family with this. So again, I was very proud. We've been lobbying, working on that for almost 5 years. And we was able to, it was this past year that we secured that contract. And it's because of persistence, and we did a lot of meetings over the 5 years and stats and stuff to get to that point. Right now in the state of Kentucky, there is 5,921 substance abuse beds in the Department of Corrections. So right at 6,000 substance abuse beds. In county jails, within that 6,000, in county jails, there's only 1,300 substance abuse beds. And I've got 208. So that just shows you where Marion County's at with this. But at the same time, what is so disheartening about those numbers is there's 1,300 substance abuse beds in county jails across the state, and there's 12, and we're just talking about felony offenders. There's 22,000 people incarcerated in jails. 12,000 of them are Senate state felons. And I personally, over the years, it's state law that mandates that Class D felons, it's a mandate by law. It doesn't say they may be housed in jail. It says they shall be housed in the local jails. Limited on programmatic stuff in our county jails. It's easy to see the problem that you don't ever fix, because 3 hots in a cot laying on your neck is not going to help anybody through addiction. It does not. Giving somebody extra time in jail because they use drugs does not sober them up. If you're an addict, you're an addict for a lifetime. They struggle the rest of their life with addiction. There is no in between. And it took a long time to even, for a lot of this industry, because we've been in an industry of custody and control. Bring them to me, let me lock them up, and we'll hold them, and we're going to adjust them, but it's not working. It hasn't worked, and it doesn't work. Does not work. With that, I don't know if y'all watched the news yesterday, but there was 50 town hall meetings across the state of Kentucky yesterday. And the meeting was called Fed Up. Fed Up. And and they're organizing across the state of Kentucky to try to fight the opioid issue that's going on in Kentucky and the people that we're losing. They are pushing the Attorney General, the Justice Cabinet are both pushing for the pharmaceutical companies to step in and help state government with treatment. Guess what? 6,000 treatment beds in Kentucky, and they are in lockup. 6,000 beds, but they're in lockup. So the majority of the place that you're going to get any help in Kentucky, not the only, because there are some independent treatments on the street, but the majority of what we got's in jail, in lockup. So it's somewhat disheartening, but it sure does motivate us. One thing I want to, on the slide with the program, one thing I tell my staff, this has been, and it goes there, it's okay to care. That has not always been a correctional philosophy at all. It's been us and them. And really that's what it was. They fend for themselves in a lot of these facilities. But it's okay to care. It's actually more like it's our obligation to care. Now when I tell my employees to care, I didn't mean that's fireworks and inviting people over to your house and changing cars, start going on dates. It's not care as far as the individual being successful, reuniting with his family, being successful back on the street. And when I say on this right here, when you say inmates are not a commodity, that's exactly what we've done with the law saying that Class D felons will be housed in jails. Well, the inmate population is traded. We trade them from jail to jail, and we would trade them over the years based on health, if they're healthy, if they can work, and if they've got a skill. Very sad to say that, but that is the truth. You could get a person transferred if he didn't have medical issues, if he had work skills, and you could work. So we've used them as commodities since the 90s, actually early 80s, late 80s. But that's why what we're doing is differently, because it's been at times that we've had individuals asked from other jails to come to our facility to participate in programs, and a true story is the management at the other facility would deny the transfer because of he was healthy and was able to work. So it's a total disregard to that human being rehabilitating itself. It's the system. The system is absolutely needs improvement. It needs improvement as we go through. And rehabilitation, it is the key. It is the key, and it's our responsibility to return people to society. I tell my staff, I said the state line, the national borders, nor the ocean separates you from your brother. Nor does living in this community, does those walls separate us from people that we should be trying to help change. Next slide.